everyone and welcome back to my allotment diaries. My name is Emma and this is my second episode of Let's Grow a Pumpkin.
Hello, my name is Emma and last year at my allotment plot I grew the most incredible pumpkin archway. This year during my new YouTube series Let's Grow a Pumpkin, I'm going to be sharing everything I know about growing your very own pumpkin archway, so hopefully you can follow along at home and do the same.
So a lot of you out there have been asking for my second Let's Grow a Pumpkin episode for you because you are all growing along at home and I've seen your amazing pumpkins. I'm using the hashtag Let's Grow a Pumpkin and then I'll be able to share it and see how you're doing. A lot of your pumpkins are a lot bigger than mine and you're asking if they are ready to go out just now. I am putting one of my pumpkins out today and I'm probably going to put the rest out mid-May, which means that a lot of them are now going to need potting on. I thought I'd show you how a couple of my pumpkins are doing. So these here are my patty pans. They're about this big, as you can see. Doing pretty good, I think. I've also got a baby boo, which is looking very happy there. And a kikikuri. Never grown this one before, but he's looking pretty happy. And I have my Jacoby Littles, which are arguably the smallest of the pumpkins that I'm growing right now. But they've germinated and they've turned into plants, so we'll take that as a bonus, won't we? So I'm going to pot some of these on today. You might notice that some of them are getting yellow leaves, like this one here, and the roots are coming through the bottom, and that basically means that they're just outgrowing their pots, really. They're outgrowing their space and they need a bigger pot, more nutrients, new compost, and a bigger pot so their roots can grow so I can actually water them properly. So that's what we're going to do today. So when you're repotting, you don't want to use a pot that's massively bigger than the pot that it's already in. So here's my original pot here, and you can see I can fit that one inside that one. So that's probably quite a good little repotting size. And you just want to basically repot them so they've got a little bit more room and top up all their nutrients in here. So first thing we're going to do is fill this with compost. Just using a normal multi-purpose peat-free compost for this. That's what they're going to be going into, so they need to get used to it now. Fill it about that much. So we're going to repot the patty pan first. Here's my patty pans. Take them out. That's what we're going to do. We're going to just loosen the soil, so we're loosening the plant from the pot. There we go. Now, one of the reasons why we over-sow when we sow anything is because there's always a risk of killing it before it actually gets a chance to get going, and repotting stuff is when I'm terrified that I'm going to kill it. So that's why I planted more than I need. So I've actually got 4 baby boos and I actually only need 2. Only these patty pans, I only need 2 patty pans, but I've actually got 4. So we'll just see which ones live, which ones don't, and any that do live that I don't need, I'm just going to give away to people to grow. So there we go. So we'll give them a water pretty sharpish after potting them on. This usually sort of helps them a little bit, stops them from dying straight away. Give them an instant drink. Hopefully they will live. They're going to go back inside these two until they get a bit bigger and stronger. And the way that I'll know whether it's worked and if I've killed them or if they're still living is that there'll be new growth. So I'll start to see new leaves appear. Gosh, that's just dripped all over me. Really good drainage though, look at this. That's really what you want to see when you water, is the water coming straight out the bottom. That means you've got excellent drainage, and I'll just have to make sure I really keep these watered. But yeah, hopefully I'll get some new growth. So these aren't going anywhere near the outside until I've got new growth and they continue to grow big and strong. And that's my patty pans done, so now we'll just repot the rest. I know a lot of you out there were saying, some of the comments that I've got anyway, is that I've sown my pumpkins too early. and that they're going to be massive too quickly. There are a couple of reasons why I sow my pumpkins so early. Number one, because I'm terrified they're going to die, and if they do die, I want time to be able to sow them again because I really, really want a pumpkin arch. And secondly, because the slugs and snails are so problematic where I am, that the bigger and stronger I can get the pumpkin before it goes out, the more chance it's got of surviving a slug or snail attack. And it doesn't seem to matter how many defences I put around my pumpkins, they manage to get there and eat some of it. So the bigger they are, the more chance they've got of defending themselves, and that's why I sow them early. If you've got a greenhouse or something, this is ideal. I mean, these will be great in a greenhouse, but I don't, so they have to go on my windowsill, and I just survive with it for a little bit with massive plants everywhere. Right, there we are, pumpkins all potted on. Now I've just got to find space for them in my house, all except for my Jack B. Littles, and there's a reason for that. So I have decided to grow one of my Jack B. Little pumpkins in my vegetable courtyard garden, which is not very much space at all, and I want to prove to you that you can grow a pumpkin even in quite a small confined space. Now it is important to remember that pumpkin plants are massive. It doesn't matter if you're growing a little like baby boo pumpkins or a giant like jack-o'-lantern, the plants are massive basically. The leaves are like jungle leaves, so you do need to have quite a lot of vertical space at the very least. So I've got this fence panel behind me here, and that's where I'm going to let the pumpkin climb, but you also need a very big pot. This is the pot that I've got. Here it is, absolutely massive. It's a 50cm pot. I'll show you the label in a minute for reference, but this is it compared to my head. It's massive. What a beaut. So here's the label, just in case you're after one yourselves. It's Clever Pots, 50cm round pot from Wilko's. It was about £6 for this massive pot. Now this is just going to hold one Jack B. Little plant, that's how big they are. It's very deep as well, and at the bottom I put in a little layer, not that high up, but just a little bit of rocks at the bottom, and this is going to help with drainage so the water can drain through and drain out, because I do not want my pumpkins sitting in water. They will not like that. And I've got it on a pot stand at the bottom like that, so it's raised from the ground, and I'm just going to make sure the pot's positioned right, because once I fill this with compost I'm never going to be able to move it again. Right, so I'm just going to use good old multi-purpose compost, peat-free of course, and I just get this one from B&Q. The reason I get it is, number one, there's a B&Q at the end of my street, so it's so easy to pick up, and number two, I've never had a problem with it. A lot of people always email when I use this and say that they've always had a problem with this compost. I haven't, and I think that's the thing, you just got to find what works for you. So we're going to fill him up now. Fill you up, mate. So, I'm going to use a bit of an educated guess on my knowledge of what I know about pumpkin plants and how that might translate to growing it in a pot. And I'm going to say pumpkins are very hungry plants. That means that they suck up a lot of nutrients from the ground and they need a lot of water. So if it's in a pot, kind of using my logic here, I think it's going to need regular feeding when it gets growing. So I use something like a liquid seaweed feed, but you could probably use tomato feed as well and it'd probably be fine, because the pot is going to run out of nutrients pretty quickly and the roots have got nowhere else to go. So I'm just going to keep feeding it basically and keep it watered. So it's now filled to the top with peat-free multi-purpose compost. I'm actually going to mix a little bit of Koya in here as well, Koya product. Now Koya product is peat-free. It's made from the husk of coconuts, and it doesn't hold that many nutrients, but what it does hold is moisture, and it just retains a lot of moisture. Most of my seedlings that I've started with this have not dried out, which is amazing. And I'm going to mix it in because, like I said, pumpkins are very thirsty. It's in a pot and it's going to need more moisture. So I'm just going to mix a little bit in, not too much, because they are hungry plants too. I'm hoping by keeping this on the top, when the plant's quite young, it's just going to keep it nice and moist. We'll see anyway, I'll let you know how it goes. As always, Gardening is one big experiment, isn't it? Right. Pumpkins want to grow in one direction, so if you want it to grow up something, you have to make sure it's growing in that direction, otherwise you'll never be able to turn it round. You'll snap the stem and everything. So here's my pumpkin plant. Ooh. You see where the smaller leaf is? That's not the way it wants to grow. It's that way. It's the bigger leaf. It's naturally going that way, and so that's the way I'm going to plant it. And then it's going to climb that way. I don't know if that explains it. I'll look it up and see if I can find a better solution. The good thing is that when it's very young, I've still got time to turn it around. So if I'm completely wrong, I can still spin him. And he's in a pot as well. So that was completely unhelpful in every way. I do actually think it's the first leaf, the first real leaf that appears is the way it grows. I think it's this way because that's the first real leaf. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plant him in the middle of the pot because he's going to need a lot of room. So we're just going to dig a little hole like this. Oh, it's lovely new compost, isn't it? Isn't it fun? In he goes. In you go, mate. There we go. So, if you are in the UK or anywhere where there's still a risk of frost, I know that we're actually due some frost overnight this week, so he's going to need protecting because he's not going to be frost resistant. You can use this stuff, which is like a fleece. It's like your granny's old net curtains, and you can just wrap that over him or around him or what have you and just keep him safe from that. Or you can do what I'm going to do and get an old plastic bottle, cut me off, like that, keep the lid off and then do this. And it's just your own little mini greenhouse. The other thing it's going to need straight away, and do not scrimp on this and do not think you can get away with it because you cannot, is slug and snail defences. Now usually I use crushed up eggshells. I left a load on the side to dry out overnight and my husband's thrown them all away and I can't find them in the bin. So I'm going to resort to dangerous measures. Salt. Don't judge me too hard. I have gone 2 or 3 years of the allotment plot being completely animal friendly, eco friendly, and the slugs and snails just ate everything last year. I barely got any produce at all, and so this year it really is an all-out war, and I just see it as I am part of nature, they're part of nature, and we're going to battle with each other, and that's just it. But anyway, I hope this video has been slightly helpful on what you should be doing next with your pumpkins. Good luck if you are growing your pumpkin arch. Keep hashtagging Let's Grow a Pumpkin, and I'll keep sharing and seeing and giving advice wherever I can. And don't forget that you can grow them in pots. This is my first time growing it in a pot, so I will let you know how I get on, and I'll just be inventive with my tips and tricks and things. I'm going to put trellis up, by the way, if you're wondering where it's going to go. Trellis on the fence when it gets bigger. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel, and I will be back in a week with some more allotment vlogs. So I'll see you then guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.